At its very core, the concept of a sleeper PC is an old-looking computer case hiding top-of-the-line modern components. But why stop just at the PC? What happens if you build an entire desk setup with that sleeper mentality? Everything from the PC to the peripherals and even the monitors. Well, that's exactly what we're gonna try to build today. Perhaps the proper way to go about this would be to repurpose an existing old computer like this Macintosh Quadra 700, which honestly still looks like it's in pretty great shape. Actually, there's still RAM in there. There's a ton of it too. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 10 sticks. So we're sitting on a gold mine, although it's probably what, DDR, just like DDR1. So while we could retrofit modern parts inside of an old computer like this, if you follow this channel, you'll know that we just got done building an entire sleeper PC inside of a modern case that looks dated. And this quite literally is one of the most powerful PCs that I've ever built. Actually, it might be the single most powerful PC, despite how it looks. I'm actually surprised more companies don't do this, but Silverstone has made a modern retro PC case. We have some floppy drives up here. We even have a key switch to lock the power. We have turbo and a reset button. The aesthetic of this entire thing is really cool, but it's hiding modern components. Although the Lee logo's upside down. Inside of this PC, we're rocking a 9070 XT GPU plus a 9950 X32 CPU, which is a CPU that has a stacked L3 cache on both of its CCDs. Although if you look at the benchmarks, that second L3 cache isn't really doing all that much. Regardless though, that makes this one of the most powerful PCs that I've ever built, which means now the task is to demodernize the rest of our setup here, because we can't have a modern looking keyboard or a modern looking ultra wide to go with our sleeper PC. That's just not gonna fly. So our next mission is to replace our peripherals. And so for this, we're gonna break out a little box of pure magic. This is the OmniKey Ultra from Northgate Computer Systems, a keyboard straight out of the 1980s that I'm really hoping works in a modern system. You can see here we even have the original production sticker, the OmniKey Plus. That's beautiful. Now, Northgate in the 1980s were trying to jump in onto the trend of personal computers. And so they started producing entire computer systems just like IBM, but included their own keyboards inside of the packages. They actually ended up making such high quality mechanical keyboards that the keyboard business far outlasted the actual computer business. And once you type on this, you realize why it was the golden standard at the time. It honestly is still considered to be a great keyboard. Part of the reason is it has an entire metal chassis. They really just don't make them like this anymore. And from the 1980s, there are a few quirks, like the caps lock key being right down here by the space bar, or even this key, the comma period lock, which is a key not common in today's keyboards. You see, normally if you hold shift and press the period button, it's gonna output this greater than symbol. But with the comma period lock enabled, no matter if you're holding shift, it's always going to output the period. And same goes for the comma as well. But also, unlike modern keyboards, this does not have a USB port because it existed before the USB standard. Instead, you can see here it uses a 6-pin PS2 connector, which thankfully should translate pretty easily to USB. We just need to find ourselves the right adapter. So let's find that. Here we have that same 6-pin PS2 connector, but on the back side, a USB. So if we go ahead and plug a longer USB to that side, and then find the correct orientation to plug this in. Man, you thought USB was bad. There's 6 pins you have to line up with this one. Now, hypothetically, we can plug this end into our computer and it should work. So we'll add that to the back of our computer. Okay, unfortunately, with just that plugged in, I'm not able to control our computer. So maybe we need a different connection after all. Now the OmniKey does come with this much longer cable that converts this 6-pin PS2 to this 5-pin DOM. So maybe we can try to extend this cable instead, but there is one main issue. And that is that one of these 6 pins is completely shot. That one on the bottom there is bent way out of place. And I'm not sure I can get a tool in there that's small enough to move it around. That might be an issue, because I also don't have any connectors that fit inside of this 5-pin connector. Okay, let's think. We're gonna break out the pliers. So now while I can move that pin, I'm not sure I can straighten it out with this shroud around it. Now this pin is not against the far wall, but it is still a little warped. And I'm not entirely sure it's going to be able to make a solid connection through this port. I'm just going to very gently try. Oh, wait, that plugged in perfectly. Oh, we got lights, Okay, that modification worked. Holy cow, okay. Our number lock is switching. Our caps lock is switching as well. And the scroll lock. Our keyboard works. That's really cool, I'm not gonna lie. We can even use it to navigate BIOS. Wait, hopefully. Hello? Oh, okay. Yes, let's go. It is kind of strange to me that there's a number pad with arrows here, as well as the Omni pad with arrows side by side. Also, interestingly, the F keys are along the side here, and the SF keys are up above. And all right, okay, we need to install an operating system on here. And while clearly the best choice for this would be Windows 98, unfortunately, that doesn't really work super well on modern components. So we're gonna do the next best thing, which is we're going to emulate Windows 98. All right, while we go ahead and install a modern Windows before emulating an older Windows, now let's try to install an older mouse, or at least a beige looking mouse. I didn't realize that Cherry made peripherals outside of switches, but they do actually make a beige looking mouse that does come with an old PS2 adapter, which honestly is pretty cool. And I bought it because, well, it's beige, even though it's not in fact one of those mice that has a ball inside of it, which if you didn't use a mouse with a trackball inside of it, consider yourself lucky. I feel like those things only work like half the time. We'll remove the PS2 and just install it with the USB. Boom, baby, we got a mouse. So it's finally time we do something about our monitor setup, because that looks way too flashy and new. Now, you might have seen that I picked up this old monitor from a garage sale a couple weeks ago. This is an EGA monitor from Samsung from the 1980s. And actually, this CRT is so old, I've been really struggling to connect it to modern components. And the reason being is because it anticipates digital signals, as opposed to modern technology, which uses analog signals. So even though this looks like a very basic VGA cable, it is certainly not. So to connect this monitor with a modern PC, it would require a bit more tinkering than I currently have time for. So if we don't use this monitor for our sleeper desk setup, what in the world are we gonna use? Well, come on, follow me. I got something to show you. Welcome to my CRT haul. All of these I picked up from Facebook Marketplace, and all of them, I believe, are from the early 2000s, as opposed to the 1980s. We got ourselves a Premio, a KDS, and an IBM monitor ready to go. Because importantly, while these are still CRT TVs, all of them are new enough to have actual VGA. And this, my friends, is something that I can work with. But now we just gotta haul all these upstairs. They're so heavy. And before we carry those, I do wanna remove our ultra-wides so we have a place to actually put the monitors. So let's clear up this space a little bit. Oh, and you're done. Okay, it's free. Now, I most certainly have never had a triple monitor CRT setup, but it sounds like a dream straight out of the early 2000s. And I'm here to fulfill it. Now, I will say, I have not tested these yet. So A, I hope they turn on, and B, I hope they actually work with our modern PC. Also, how should we set these up? These two over here, and then the larger one right front and center. I feel like I'm like a day trader in the 1980s. I am glad monitors don't weigh this much anymore. This is crazy. This is also the largest one. This is like a 17-inch. There's like no room for anything else on this desk. Like if this was the setup, it's just half the desk is just the back of the monitor. That's way better. Yeah, okay. Would it be ridiculous to stack CRTs? Ugh. Would this ever be the play? This feels ridiculous. I'm not sold on this idea, but I mean, people do have stacked monitors in their actual setups. I can't tell how absurd this is though. These also don't work with VESA mounts, right? So I can't just like nicely package this all together in some weird orientation. I feel like this is a little too weird. There's like too big of a separation between the screens. Let me see what it looks like on the side. Okay, this might be the best I can do. But honestly, I don't even know if these work yet, so maybe we should just try plugging some of them in. Step one is to see if these monitors turn on in the first place. So we'll plug in one, we'll plug in two, and we will plug in number 3. Okay. Now, hypothetically, when we press the power button, I heard this static, which is a telltale sign that something kicked on inside of there. We're getting a signal. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2. Boom, baby, it's doing the self-test. Amazing. Time for number 3. Oh yeah, baby. We are cooking. The issue is I was definitely installing Windows and I don't know which step it's on because I can't see what it's currently outputting. So to avoid potentially breaking our PC by interrupting the Windows installation process, I decided to try out our CRTs with my laptop first. This is my M5 MacBook Pro, and Anker was kind enough to send out 2 of their docking stations built specifically for these powerhouses. The Anker Prime TP5 here is a 14-in-1 docking station with 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports, 2 downstream and 1 upstream. Plus it has an HDMI 2.1 and a DisplayPort 2.1 among a trove of other useful ports as well. There's also a power supply built inside of it, meaning we just need a single cable without the need for any bulky adapters to power this thing on. Although that said, we will need adapters to make this work with our CRTs, to go from VGA to DisplayPort and USB-C respectively. But with all that plugged in, as you can see, these monitors still have life in them. This is so awesome. This is gonna come together so nicely. This docking station also takes advantage of the full 120 gigabit per second transfer speed of TP5. That's 3 times faster than the previous Thunderbolt generation, and also supports up to an 8K display or dual 4K at 240 Hz. But now to make sure that our third and final CRT also works, we're going to break out the Anker Prime DL7400, which conveniently supports triple display setups. Importantly, I think it's the only multi-display solution that I'm aware of that works with any USB-C MacBook, not just the Pro models. It also has a built-in display here, which I find pretty nice to quickly monitor power draw or transfer speeds. And with it, we can confidently confirm that even this 17-inch CRT is working as expected. We went 3 for 3, baby. So if you're looking for a docking station that fully takes advantage of your MacBook Pro's Thunderbolt 5 speeds, well, I'll leave some more information about these Anker Prime docking stations in the description down below. And a huge thank you to Anker for sponsoring this video. But all right, now time to see if this works with our retro sleeper PC. Oh, wait, we're getting a signal on this monitor. I don't know why, but like modern logos on this old CRT monitor look really cool. Whoa, okay, we got Windows. I feel like this is coming together. Oh my gosh, guys, all 3 screens ended up working perfectly fine. On top of that, I changed the refresh rate of all of these to be exactly 60, and the phone is picking up like 30 frames per second, so hopefully you don't see too much distortion. Every once in a while, you might see some like weird artifacts. But guys, I think it's time to put our sleeper PC to the actual test. Let's play some old games, shall we? What better game to try than the original Counter-Strike? Now, I will say, I have never actually played this game. I played a lot of CS Source and a lot of CSGO and a lot of CS2, but I can't say I played a lot of CS1. How hard could it be, right? Oh, okay, jeez Louise. Oh, no, okay, jeez, we got deleted instantly. No, I got kaboom. Dude, this just looks so cool on the CRT displays. We also ended up adding speakers from my old PC back when I was growing up into the mix as well. I found it inside of my junk drawer here, which I've been, I guess, carrying around with me for the past 20 years or so. Why I still had those speakers, I'm not exactly sure, but the fact that we have them allows us to actually hear stuff out of our retro sleeper PC. Although doing so also added a ton more cables to the mix. It's not pretty back here, but it's doing the job. Let's see if we can just get a single kill. How about that? Oh, I see him. Can we sneak up on him? I got a kill! Let's go! While we're in our death timer, we can also just go into our Windows 98 simulator and play some different games. Although it's really interesting, I want to Alt-Tab by pressing these 2 buttons, but these buttons are not Alt and Tab. That's Caps Lock and Tab. The configuration here is very strange. Also, the fact that Control is right here, very weird. Let's go into our Windows 98 simulator here, and let's play some Minesweeper. Oh, baby. Does anyone know why Microsoft stopped including Minesweeper in their operating system? Doesn't that seem like such a silly thing to do? I don't know. Like, surely it wasn't taking up that much space, right? Space wasn't an issue. So what was it? I feel like they've included a lot worse things in their operating system. It's also weird that this did not default to the beginner-sized map. This is the intermediate, no? Do you guys see where I missed a mine? Because I don't see it. 2 there, 2, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. The game hasn't ended yet, but I think I've uncovered. Maybe this Windows 98 simulator doesn't have an end game for Minesweeper? Okay, yeah, it turns out the game just doesn't end. which I guess this simulator did not expect anyone to get to the end of Minesweeper. I don't know. Whoa, but they do also have pinball on here. Oh my gosh, you guys remember this? This is my childhood. The CRTs are really bringing me back. Oh wait, Clippy's here. Oh, there's so much going on right now. Oh my gosh, we got the pipe screensaver. That's so cool. I kind of forgot about all these things. I feel like all my neurons in my brain are like reconnecting. But now that we've seen how our sleeper PC setup can handle old school gaming, let's see how it handles modern gaming. And for this, let's hit the lights, because that, my friends, is much more like it. This is turning into quite the vibe. Let's see how this handles a Cyberpunk 2077 on a CRT display. Ah, man, I already feel like I'm sitting back in my parents' house in the middle of the night playing my video games. There's something about being surrounded by the static of CRT screens that just feels so nostalgic. Dude, this feels so cool. There's something about there not being motion blur because there's no frames, because it's all being drawn line by line, that just makes this all feel so crisp. And because we're using modern components, it's all running so incredibly smooth as well. Although I am curious, if we look at settings, what this is actually pumping out. I feel like interface-wise, we're not taking full advantage of the screen. Let's go ahead and, whoa, okay, there we go. I want this to be full screen. I guess we can check it out on different monitors. I actually do feel like this left screen doesn't get as dark as the middle one. Let's also see how it looks on the far right screen. Same with this one over here. Like, this one just looks just a little too bright. Get out of here, bug. We're also going to put it to 1920 by 1080. Although I have heard that if you reduce the resolution on these CRTs, it still ends up looking really nice. Something about the scan lines making it look nice and retro. I would believe it. Let's actually run a quick benchmark real quick to see exactly how our computer is handling this type of game. And ignore the fact that we have not activated Windows. Pay more attention up here, where we're getting over 240 FPS. And we end up averaging around 227 frames per second. Of course, that is at 1280 by 720 resolution.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
And now, because I kind of sucked at playing the original Counter-Strike, let's go ahead and give Counter-Strike 2 a go with our sleeper setup. Let's go ahead and jump into some deathmatch. Looks pretty cool. And we got got. Now this really has been a very cool experience. Having these CRT displays as sort of front and center to experience gaming, it's really bringing me back. And now as you saw, it was not that difficult to get this all up and running with the VGA adapters, assuming of course you have a CRT display that outputs with VGA. If you're looking for these on Facebook Marketplace or eBay, it'll usually say what type of input it supports. But also if you have the make and model, you can just Google that to see what the actual input is. And I can't tell if I'm biased by nostalgia, but this is a lot of fun playing this stuff on these older screens. Now, would I want to play it for like more competitive titles like this, where I'm actually trying to perform to the best of my abilities? Not really. But if I truly want to just enjoy the experience of something, yeah, I think this is a pretty cool way to do it. I think I got pretty lucky. I picked up all 3 of these CRTs for around $120, so around 40 bucks a pop. That said, because they were local, I didn't have to pay any type of shipping fees. And so if you're looking for these on eBay, you're gonna spend most of your money probably on shipping, unfortunately. Because it really just is not convenient to ship something this bulky and this heavy. But if you have the means and are in a marketplace where someone is selling an old CRT from like the early 2000s, say, I would highly recommend getting yourself one. These VGA to DisplayPort or HDMI or even USB-C adapters are honestly very affordable as well. They should be around 10 bucks, and for the most part, they're just plug and play. I do think there's probably a bit we could do to tweak how this actually comes across on the CRT, but for the most part, it will just sort of work out of the box as long as the CRT that you bought, it still does function. I have found the urge recently to start playing old games from my childhood, like single player games. I almost feel like this setup is going to be the perfect motivation to kick me into gear into doing that. I was reminded of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance in the latest Steam sale, and like honestly, I loved playing that game as a kid on my GameCube. I might have to try playing this on this sleeper PC setup, because that sounds like a whole ton of fun. But now I'm curious, what else do you think that this retro PC sleeper setup is missing? Because if we go ahead and add back our side panel here and cover up all of our components, we have the PC that looks old and dated. We have the monitors that are straight out of the early 2000s. We even have the keyboard built in the 1980s, and a mouse that also looks like it's pretty dated, but still works with lasers, which is nice. Culminating in one of the coolest setups that I've put together in recent memory. I think upgrading our speakers to have a beige finish would fit more into the aesthetic, but when you think of the quintessential 2000s era gaming setup, what am I missing here? What more could we add to bring this all together? Feel free to let me know in the comments down below, and make sure to follow along to see updates on our retro sleeper PC build here, because I'm personally extremely curious to see how it holds up against doing an actual retro PC. All in due time though, because that's all I have for you today. I've been mryeester, your tech tinkerer, and I'll catch you in the next one. Oh yeah.